Who can resist a bit of crispy pork belly, especially in this version where it's braised in some beer and served with Mexican salad? Leave your piece of pork belly in the fridge uncovered for at least 24 hours, and that way you're going to ensure that the skin is nice and dry. Then when you get it, dab it with a bit of paper towel and just get rid of any of that moisture. To do the scoring, I'm going to actually use a Stanley knife. I'm also going to use a ruler, and the reason I'm doing that is we're going to get nice, even, straight lines, so when we slice the pork belly, each person's going to get a nice piece of pork and crackling. And just make sure you don't go through the skin too deep, you just want to gently pierce it. So if we just put this aside, and we're just getting the mixture to braise the pork. So firstly, we're just going in with some garlic, straight in. And then I've got some parsley and coriander, which are going to be used in the salad. But if we just take the stalks, we're going to use the stalks to braise the pork. Now we're just going to go in with some smoked paprika. Make sure you use good stuff. A little bit of salt. The most important ingredient next to the pork is a whole beer. Now, at this point, I'm going to put on the pork belly before I put any more liquid on, because we want to make sure that the skin doesn't come into contact with any liquid in the pan, because that way it's just going to kill the crackling. And just in the side, we can go in with our stock. Keep on pouring in until you just reach the skin, but don't go any higher. And now on with a bit of oil, and see if you can use your hands to spread that out. And then finally, a little bit of salt. And when I say a little bit, I actually mean a lot of salt. And we're going to go into the oven at 220 fan force. The reason we're using fan force is to make sure we're projecting as much heat onto that skin as possible. We're going to go in for about 40 minutes until it's nice and puffed. Turn the oven down to 150 and then cook it for about 2 hours until tender. So while the pork's in the oven, we're going to pickle our onions. Grab a mandolin or use a sharp knife and just slice as thinly as you can. And then to pickle them, we're going to use a bit of salt. And we're going to use the liquid from pickled jalapenos to pickle the onions. Now spread that all out, making sure it's covered by the liquid, and just set that aside until we make our salad. So for the avocado, we're just going to grab 2 ripe avocados and then some pickled jalapenos. Now that we've used that liquid, a bit of salt. And then to make sure they don't go brown, we're going to use some lime juice. Remember to give your lime a good roll, put all your body weight in it, and that's going to release all the juices. And now blend it all together. And if you're preparing this ahead, put some plastic wrap on top and just press down and leave it in the fridge. And now we're just going to halve our cherry tomatoes and slice the cucumber. And those coriander and parsley leaves you reserved, we're just going to pick them and go straight into the bowl as well. If you are prepping this ahead of time, I'd leave the herb picking to the last minute just so they don't wilt too much. And now just gently toss that all together. So the pork is beautifully tender. I mean, listen to that. Okay. And in all those markings on the crackling, you can see where we did our scoring. We can slice in between then. It's going to be a lot easier, so we're not going to ruin the crackling. So finally we get to eat. So I've got some tortillas, and we're going to use them as kind of the base of the salad. First with some of that avocado we did, and smear that over. And top with some of the salad, some black beans, which I've just drained and rinsed. And then those onions, and that pickling liquid has gone all pink, so it's done its work. And then finally, crown it with some pork belly. And then just some of these pan juices. There is so much flavor in here, so you definitely don't want to get rid of this. So there it is, beautifully tender and smoky pork with some great crackling. All it needs is a little bit of lime on top and a cold beer on the side. For this recipe and more, head to delicious.com.au.